once more. You're welcome to this channel where we teach on everything that you need to know concerning your education. Today we are going to talk on a topic of biology, we say is nutrition in animals. But before I proceed, I would like you to click on that like button and subscribe button. Like this page, subscribe onto it, and I believe that it's going to help you in your academics. Okay, first of all, we need to define nutrition. Nutrition is the injection of food or solid materials into the system of a human or an animal. Now, what are those food substances that is being ingested? Food substances are solid materials that is needed in the body in order to make the animal or man achieve its daily life processes. Locomotion, breathing, respiration. We need nutrition to achieve all those things. Okay, these food substances boils down to the 7 classes of food that we have. In fact, every food substance is expected to have the 7 classes of food in it. In other words, known as the balanced diet. So, that was too much of our time. Let us look at the animals that have this classification of animals based on the food that we eat. So we have autotrophic animals. Let's start with autotrophic animals. These organisms are organisms that are self-producing organisms. They produce foods on themselves. What I mean they produce food on themselves, they are plants. They produce food from themselves through the process of sunlight. Photosynthesis has this capacity of helping them to produce their food on their own selves. Alright, now from autotrophs we have heterotrophs. Heterotrophs, which depend on already made food by the plants to survive. Heterotroph depends on already made food from the plants to survive. In heterotrophs, we have herbivores. Herbivores are animals that rely on plants, leaves to survive. We have carnivores. Carnivores are an organism that feed on flesh, or animals that feed on flesh. Then we have omnivores. Omnivores are animals that feed on both plants and on flesh. They even eat fruits. Example, man, pig. Example of carnivore, we have lion, we have cat. Example of herbivores, we have sheep, we have goat. Alright, this is the classification of animal based on food we eat. Now, let us classify the food substances. This is where the work comes. These food substances, they are so vast that while you have to classify them, you have to classify it based on what you know. You need to make sure you know them before you classify them. Let's start with carbohydrates. Before I talk about carbohydrates, we all know carbohydrate as starch. We all know carbohydrate as starch. So any food that gives you starch in the body is giving you carbohydrates. Now, carbohydrates is found in every plant, humans. In fact, in every food substances is needed. Now, it can be found in 3 forms. Now, we have types of carbohydrates. Types of carbohydrates. We have monosaccharide, we have disaccharide, we have polysaccharide. Monosaccharides are simple sugars. We call them simple sugars. Why do we call them simple sugars? Because they have only one sugar in it. Example, glucose, fructose, maltose. Simple sugars. Now, we have disaccharides. Disaccharides are a combination of simple sugars. Now, there is a combination of 2 simple sugars or 2 monosaccharides as a particular sugar. Now we have them as fructose, we have them as galactose, fructose. Now these are complex, I will not say rather complex, they are 2 sugars, 2 simple sugars joined to form 1 sugar. Now if glucose is having C6H12O6, now they are having C11H22O11. This is for them, double of this. Now the next one we have is polysaccharide. This is what we call a complex sugar. Now afterwards I'll tell you how it happens. Now this one we call a complex sugar. This one we can know it as starch. Glycogen. Now this is a complex sugar. We don't know how many branch of sugar that is in it because it contains of plenty monosaccharides. Okay, just like when we eat our eba, which is our starch. Now when our starch goes into the system, it turns to galactose. Now when it turns to galactose, polysaccharide breaks down to disaccharide, where disaccharide breaks down to monosaccharide, then the galactose will break down to glucose, and the glucose will be utilized by the system. That is how it goes. One of the things we know about the carbohydrates. Now carbohydrates are known as sugars. They are known as sugars. The bread we eat, the yam, garri, cassava, flour, wheat, rice, sorghum, millet, all those things, they have starch. They have carbohydrates in them. Now carbohydrate can still be stored as glycogen in animals. It can be stored as glycogen in animals. We will go and buy animal. We go and buy animal meat. Now the glycogen that is found in meat, they are starch. Now it's this glycogen, it can still break down to galactose and we still have fructose or glucose. So with this thing, I think that these are the only types of carbohydrates that is found in carbohydrates. Alright, we'll go straight to proteins and let us see what protein is all about.